Batman the Dark Knight number 10, written by Greg Hurwitz, art by David Finch. It's another Scarecrow story. Okay, so we open up with this guy sewing his mouth shut because, of course, he's got to be creepy. And he goes down to this basement where he has this little girl kidnapped and doses her with fear gas. Because, again, we're doing another Scarecrow story. So that was just the teaser. Then we go over to Wayne Manor where there's a new love interest named Natalia, who is a concert pianist. And she's playing for Bruce, and apparently she's got some concerto on New Year's Eve, which is coming up very soon. So this is set either in the past or the future. And Bruce is like, oh, wow, you are just incredible. Just so amazing. I wish I had some sort of talent like yours. And as they're just back and forth flirting, Alfred comes in and tells him, like, oh, they found another child, Master Bruce. To which Natalia is already apparently used to Bruce just saying, I have to go at random times, and she's just pre-predicting it now. So then we see this young girl from the first scene dropped off on a city street. Cops have eyes on both the girl and the kidnappers, and Gordon tells them, all right, one of you on the kidnappers, one of you on the kid. And then as soon as the cops start following the kidnappers, they start zooming like through traffic, like literally ramming cars out of the way. And they're speeding down the road. The cops are giving chase, and it looks like they're about to crash headfirst into a first floor level maternity ward on this hospital with big glass windows, which just seems like the dumbest thing, but sure. And as they're about to hit, Batman swoops in, kicks the driver out of the car, and swerves the car out of the way. They interrogate the kidnapper, and he's like, I didn't kidnap the kid. I was hired to drop him off. I was just some guy. I'm just a hired man by the Hollow Man. It's Scarecrow, though. Like, I don't know who this Hollow Man guy is. Maybe there's a secondary villain, but it was definitely just Scarecrow. So anyway, Batman and Gordon talk up on the roof, and basically they're like, God, they're attacking kids now, and we're not finding stuff out fast enough. And Batman's like, dude, we'll get there. Chill. Like, we're gonna follow the leads and do what we can. He's like, it's not enough. And Gordon actually ends up Batmaning Batman, where he just disappears where Batman didn't notice. So then Batman goes to Child Protective Services and tries talking to the little girl. Her name is Claire. And that's the thing that Gordon was saying, was that when they're returned, when these kids come back, they are just gone. Like, mentally, they're just like wiped. They don't speak, they don't interact, they're just blank. So Batman goes and tries to get some information. He's just asking questions very kindly to this kid, but the kid still starts crying, having to like think about it. So Batman just sits down next to her and holds her hand for a while. Very nice scene. So then we go back to the Batcave, and Damian is standing behind Batman in his chair, and he's just like, hey, Dad, you know how over in my book, Batman and Robin, I've been like having problems with killing people, and you tell me to stop? I just want you to know I am listening to you, and I am working very hard on it, and I hope that you are very appreciative of that, because it really is difficult for me. And then Batman goes, huh? Did you say something? To which Damian is very rightfully upset by that. So then we go over to Jim Gordon, who's going back home, and he's just recounting, like, there are rules. Like, I live in a nice little planned neighborhood, and there is a homeless guy, and sometimes I invite him in, but he never invites himself because those are the rules. And there are rules to crime as well. And one major thing here is that you don't get these innocent kids involved. Like, that's against the rules. You don't do that. But as he walks into his apartment and he starts taking a shower, he gets dosed with fear gas. And he stumbles around his house. He sees like the homeless guy. And as he stumbles back in, he sees his daughter Barbara, who's been shot in the stomach, who's like, why didn't you save me from the Joker? And he's like, I'm sorry. And then his son James Jr. shows up and is like, why didn't you save me from being crazy? And he's like, I'm sorry. So then we go to back across town. Natalia's practicing her concerto, and she keeps on messing up this one note, and she's like so upset over it. Bruce shows up and he's just like, oh, hey, you're not dressed, you ready to go? And he's just like, I can't get this right. Could you sit here and just be supportive of me? And he's just like, it's not exactly the biggest event. It's just this thing. Is like, yeah, but it matters to me. And they basically get into a conversation about how Bruce is never there for the daily stuff. Like, he's here for all the events. He's technically there, but he's not here for the part that actually makes the relationship a relationship. So Natalia just closes the door on him and walks away. So then we get back to Jimmy's apartment. I say Jimmy. I don't think he's ever been called Jimmy. Jim Gordon's apartment. And Scarecrow, in shadow, so we're not supposed to know it's him, but it's clearly him, comes up to this homeless guy who has a cup full of pencils, and he has the homeless guy write, between the emotion and the response falls the shadow. Okay? And so he walks into Jim Gordon's apartment and was just like, hey, don't worry, I'll make it stop for now, but we're just getting started, Jim Gordon. And that's where we leave off. The first arc was about a new strain of fear toxin being used by Bane, but still Scarecrow involved. Then we had like a single issue that was focused, I'm pretty sure, just on Scarecrow again. And now we have another Scarecrow. We changed love interests before we changed the villain we're focusing on. And if this is just a Scarecrow book of Batman versus Scarecrow, fine. Whatever. I wasn't sold on that premise. Like, you didn't tell me that up front that that's what it was going to be, because Scarecrow kind of seemed like secondary character of the first arc when Bane was introduced. But okay, if we're just doing Scarecrow constantly, that's fine. But like, what are we doing? Like, why is it any different this day? I don't know. It's so weird to me that we're still doing a Scarecrow story. We've been through like 3 arcs now. This is the 3rd, and it's still Scarecrow. Art-wise, it's fine. There's no problems with it at all. It's nothing that's really blowing me away. Some of the fear toxin scenes are pretty creative looking, but it's nothing that's like super amazing. Everything else is just, fine. Writing, whatever. It's just the premise as a whole. I'm like, what are we doing here? So overall, I guess I gotta give it like a 6 or something, because like, honestly, I'm sick of, like, if this is just the Scarecrow book, then lead with that. Make it like one large continuous arc of like doing this thing. But they keep on setting up like, here's what Scarecrow's doing, and Batman completely beat him. And now Scarecrow's doing something else, and Batman completely beats him again. Like, make it a whole long, drawn out thing. But no, instead it's just, here's what Scarecrow is up to this week.